All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the April 9th, 2024 Board of County Commissioners meeting. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. First thing on our agenda are our minutes. Gentlemen, do we have any additions or corrections?
I don't.
Okay.
I move to approve the proceedings of Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners for March 26, 2024 as presented.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to accept the proceedings of the Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, March 26, 2024. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, planning. Come on down. And it looks like we have a public hearing to start. Do we have, I'm going to assume online? Okay. All right, with that, Kim, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsay.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed commercial rezoning application, along with the high-impact permit application submitted by Ute Mountain Ute Tribe agent Heather McDaniel with Horrocks Engineers on property located at 158 Highway 160-491 Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 4.28 acres more or less, located south of Road A, east of Highway 160-491, situated in Section 12, Township 34 North, Range 17 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, at 9 a.m. in the Commissioner's Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 18th day of March 2024, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado, published in the Journal on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Don, would you give us an overview on this one?
Sure. And we have Jennifer from Horrocks on Zoom. The Ute Mountain Ute Tribe, they bought the property where Woody's gas station was, and they are proposing first commercial rezoning of the property, along with a high impact permit. They plan to use the existing building for the grocery store, and then they intend to build a coffee shop as well as a commercial kitchen on the property. There should be a rendering, Travis, of this site.
This one?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, you'll have to blow it up a little. They're proposing on the north driveway to move that further north than where the existing driveway access is now. The south driveway access to the highway would stay the same. All the new buildings would be set back a minimum of 50 feet, and there would be no additions attached to the existing Woody's building.
So is that just a breezeway through there, Don? Is that what I'm seeing?
Correct.
Is it- okay.
Correct, and then there's a pergola from the east end of the grocery store to the coffee shop there to the south. Parking in the rear. They're making provisions for all the drainage to go into the wash behind the property, and they would have that rip-wrapped and erosion control done. And then overflow parking is there on the far west of that picture, would be to the north of the store. The delivery area, it's just would be dirt gravel for for excess parking if necessary. They had stated, Selwyn did, that they would have the tribe's own security, make sure there wasn't overnight parking there at night. P&Z recommended it for approval, 5-1. The one no vote was basically just on the interpretation of what a grandfathered building was or wasn't, and if it had to be moved or not. There was also the discussion of putting locked gates there at night, but I think with the security taking care of that, that probably is not necessary until they see that it's necessary.
Okay. Jennifer, would you like to add anything?
Sure. Yeah, I think Don covered a lot of things. But so far we've gone through many of the engineering studies already. We've done a structural study, we've done a historic N.M.P.M study, and we found that the building was non-historic. We've worked through geotechnical, traffic to work with CDOT on the different accesses, and we're going through TIPO as well. And I think it's going to be a great location for grocery and access to food and workforce development. And yeah, I think Don covered most of it though, but thank you for having me today.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Commissioners, do you have any questions at this time?
On this propane tank on the north side, the northeast side, are those dots, are those pylon for protection of that tank?
That's correct. Those will be bollards for protection.
Commissioner, do you have anything?
I don't have anything right now.
Okay, well then, at this point in time, I will open this application up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you may address the board at this time. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close the public comment section of this application and bring it back to the commissioners. Gentlemen.
I have nothing further.
No, this has been a commercial business site for all these years, and I think it'll be good development to get it placement right and get it moved back away from the highway, from that building, the structure that's there. And no, I think it's I have no problem with it.
And I think that's really an important thing to make for the record. This has been a commercial site for a long period of time. It's a grandfathered in commercial use. You notice there's not a lot of other commercial properties in this area, but it is right along a major thoroughfare. It's not going to create any significant adverse impacts in neighboring property that weren't already there and grandfathered in. And so, that's what's going to differentiate this zoning from just going out in the unincorporated area of the county and slapping down a commercial property. That's what this property has been for way beyond when the land use code was in place.
Yeah. And I would agree with that and echo the same thing. I do appreciate the fact that you were able to move that building back to comply with the land use code. That's great. And it still looks like it's going to be a pretty nice structure and zone within itself. So the old building, you're going to still be able to use it. It's grandfathered in as it sits. So I too think it'll be a good addition. So I have no issues with it at all. So with that, gentlemen.
I would so move that we accept the commercial rezoning application along with a high-impact permit application submitted by the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe agent Heather McDaniel with Horrocks Engineers on property located at 158 Highway 160, 491, Cortez.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposed commercial rezoning application along with the high-impact permit application submitted by Ute Mountain Ute Tribe agent Heather McDaniel with Horrocks Engineering on property located at 158 Highway 160, 491 Cortez, Colorado. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, there you go, Jennifer. You are good to go. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. And I will close this public hearing.
Thank you.
All right, it is 9:10, and we do have another public hearing, so at 9:12 a.m., would you call the roll, please, Kim?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsay.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed subdivision amendment in AR 3-9 rezoning application to Lot C of the Crooked Cottonwood Subdivision, submitted by Gary Ellson on property located at to be determined Road 32.75 Mancos, consisting of 24.08 acres more or less, located west of Road 33, north of Road P, situated on Section 1, Township 36 North, Range 15 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, April 9th, 2024 at 9:10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 18th day of March 2024, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado. Published in the Journal on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Don, would you give us an overview on this one?
Sure. So Gary is proposing to amend the Crooked Cottonwood subdivision that they created a few years back. Lot C is there to the north, and they're proposing to create another roughly 4-acre lot there in the shaded area. Access would be from the red road there through the existing subdivision, and it would also allow the existing road to travel south of the new lot to the northwest to access the remaining part of Lot C. So this would be a 3-lot minor, or is it a 3-lot? Yeah, it's a 3-lot minor now, so this would convert it to a 4-lot moderate.
So that on the south side, Don, I kind of see that Pioneer dirt road in there. That would be your easement to access that,
The bigger
Which is
part of
currently the-
Lot C.
the Lot C. Okay.
Yes. And then Gary, well, I guess Gary, you don't let him know, he's gonna designate that drainage wetlands area to remain.
A natural area.
Okay. And it's right at 4+-ish.
It sounds like about 4.04 Rita come up with.
Okay. All right. Question? Question?
I don't have any right now.
Okay.
Sorry.
Would you like to say anything else, sir?
No, I don't think so. I think it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. All right. Okay, well then, at this time, I will open this application up for public comment. Anybody wishing to speak for or against this application, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you may address the board at this time. Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll close the public comment session of this application and bring it back to the commissioners. Gentlemen.
I have nothing further.
Didn't have any comments from the other lot owners on this?
No, we did not get any other response or feedback of any kind.
P&Z.
P&Z was unanimous to recommend it for approval.
Okay. Thank you, guys, commissioners.
You got any problem?
No.
I'm good. I move to approve this AR 3-9 rezoning application to Lot C of the Crooked Cottonwood Subdivision submitted by Gary Ellson on property located at Road 32.75, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 24.808 acres, more or
Sec-
less.
Sorry. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposed subdivision amendment and AR 339 rezoning application to Lot C of the Crooked Cottonwood Subdivision submitted by Gary Ellson on property located at TBD Road 32.75, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 24.08 acres more or less. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. There you
Thank
go,
you.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I will close this public hearing. All right, looks like I have about a minute, or maybe 3.
We have a couple plats for
Yep.
signature if you'd like to.
Roll those out.
Take care of
Looks
that
like
now?
we've got time.
Used to. Like a non-opposition, yeah, so that they couldn't ever come back. But they get noticed. Yeah, I know. I don't, I'm just.
No, I understand what you're saying.
That's all I was, that's
And I
all I
mean,
was
that's,
concerned
you know, there's nothing wrong with doing it that way.
Yeah.
It's probably,
But
but,
I agree, you know, I mean, we're
Yeah.
noticed with it, they want to.
yeah, yep.
Hey, Jay? Put this on my car, on the pickup. I've been packing this around for over a month. I thought if I put it in there, I'd remember. Damn.
I'm right at 9:20 now. We just turned.
We're good.
All right. It is now 9:20, and we do have another public hearing set aside. So would you call the roll at this time, please, Kim?
Commissioner Candelaria.
Here.
Commissioner Lindsay.
Here.
Commissioner Copenhaver.
Here.
Administrator Anderson.
Here.
Attorney McLaren.
Here.
And Kim Purcell, Montezuma County Clerk and Recorder. Notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Board of County Commissioners will hold a public hearing for review and determination regarding a proposed subdivision amendment and boundary line adjustment application of Lot 2 of the Lynch two-lot minor subdivision submitted by Paul Abate on property located at 14587 Road 29.75, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 21.44 acres more or less, and of the Redwood single-lot development submitted by Kelly Shepherd on property located at 14499 Road 29.6, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 4.60 acres more or less, both located south of Highway 184 and east of Road 28, situated in Section 33, Township 37 North, Range 15 West, N.M.P.M. The hearing will be held Tuesday, April 9th, 2024 at 9:20 a.m. in the Commissioners' Hearing Room, Montezuma County Administrative Offices, 109 West Main, Cortez, Colorado. Interested persons may attend and give input. Information may be obtained from the Planning Office online services at https://co-montezuma-co.smartgovcommunity.com public home. You may also contact the Planning Department at 970-565-2801 with questions. Dated this 18th day of March 2024, Kim Purcell, Clerk, Board of County Commissioners, Montezuma County, Colorado, published in the Journal on Wednesday, March 27th, 2024.
All right, thank you, Kim. Okay, Don, would you give us an overview here?
Sure. So Paul's the owner of Lot 2 of the Lynch subdivision, and Kelly is the owner of the single lot development, the Redwood single lot development. So they're doing a boundary line adjustment at the southeast corner of Paul's lot. That polygon there east of the road would be conveyed to Kelly's property there on the south. So it would be amending two separate subdivisions, so we're going to have two separate plats, one for each amendment. But it's just basically a boundary line adjustment. It just affects two different subdivisions. There's currently, as you can see, a building there on the property line. This will take care of that problem, and that property across the road isn't serving Paul any use or anything, so they have worked out an agreement to transfer that.
Okay, and it looks like if those measurements are pretty small, but it looks like 30.5, is that correct? So it meets all the subdivision, or the setbacks? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's a little shed there on the east of that little so there was an old shed there on a concrete pad that a new shed was put in place of that, but in the same location a couple of years ago. So it's still the same shed, same location prior to the land use code. It's just a
Right.
newer shed.
Which is the 13.5 feet.
Right. And that, so yeah, Kelly will have that property and that building. And it'll take care of, I think that's a garage or a shop or something built on the property line. It'll eliminate that issue.
Okay. Would you like to add anything, sir? Okay. All right, Commissioner.
P&Z's recommendation?
They were unanimous to recommend it. Yeah, and we had the discussion on the shed, but that's good to go.
Commissioner, do you have anything?
No, not right now.
Okay. Well then, at this point, I will open it up for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak for or against this application, please come forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and you may address the board at this time. Okay, seeing no public comment, I will close the public comment session of this application, and I will bring it back to the commissioners, gentlemen.
I have nothing else.
I don't, that's,
Pretty straightforward.
yeah.
Okay? Cleans up something that's sitting on the middle of a property line.
Yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
I would so move we accept the proposed subdivision amendment and boundary line adjustment application for Lot 2 of the Lynch 2-lot minor subdivision submitted by Paul, is it Abate or Abate? Abate, okay, on property located at 14587 Road 29.75, Dolores.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the proposed subdivision amendment and boundary line adjustment application of Lot 2 of the Lynch 2-lot minor subdivision submitted by Paul Abate on property located at 14587 Road 29.75, Dolores, Colorado. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All righty. You have been approved, sir. Thank you very much, and I will close this public hearing at 9:26. Okay. I think we've,
That pretty much
Take
covers
care.
our agenda for today.
all right.
We'll let
Anything
you-
else?
I'll let you move on.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
All right, next on our agenda is our public comment session. The Board of County Commissioners welcomes you to this meeting. Person speaking during public comment will be limited to 3 minutes, or depending on the number of people wishing to speak, it may be reduced to allow all the members of the public the opportunity to address the board. When addressing the board, please state your name and address for the record prior to providing your comments. Comments to individual supervisors or staff are not permitted, and participants may not yield their time to others. With that, the public comment session is open.
Good morning, Susan Kimnitz, 511 South Cedar Street. I wanted to just comment in opposition to the proposed sales tax that you're proposing. My reasons are that this sales tax, which I've heard is supposed to bring a lot of money from all these tourists coming in, but the tourists are only here for a brief stay. So yes, I'll pay a little bit, but we're here all year. And the real problem with that is that when I hear that this is going to shift the burden of the tax to the people that don't pay any taxes, well, I rent. So I do pay the taxes. It's just not my name on the check. I pay taxes on land that I do not own. I can't sell it. I can't do anything. And I really think that the government itself, right now, the federal government, has totally taxed us with their spending. They're spending beyond their budgets, way beyond, and it's hurting the people that have worked hard for their money. And I know that it's hard to think that way, but why should all the people of this country have to tighten their budgets, but governments just keep on spending and asking for more? So I would plead with you, find a way to cut your budget, not the really essential thing that I think government is supposed to be providing, which is the security from our sheriff's department, or otherwise just cut everything altogether. Please. You know, this is not good. And it makes the citizens not trust government even more. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Hi guys, my name's James Russell Myers. I live at 41777 Highway 184, Mancos, Colorado. I'm here today not to talk about my second false arrest or the malicious prosecution that's going on against me currently. I'm here to make an ADA complaint. I'm federally disabled. I have many orthopedic issues and conditions. I have a couple medical ones, but mainly it's orthopedic. March 23rd at 8 o'clock at night, after making a police report of property damage, I was attacked by an officer, as far as I could say. He held me. He wrongfully cuffed me against what they've already known the last time they arrested me, shoved me in the back of his pickup truck, and made me sit there for a couple hours in the most uncomfortable position you can imagine. Instantly, you can hear me begging him, give me at least 2 cuffs, you're hurting me. They didn't do anything. So by the time I arrived at the Montezuma County Jail, me as a grown man, I was crying. You guys don't have screws in your shoulders. You don't have your spine dissolving into your pelvis. You don't know the pain I was in. I was in enough pain, I was crying. They still ignored me. I even begged them, there's people that can bring me my pain meds. They ignored my pain meds, kept me in the cuffs. By the time I got to my holding cell, I was vomiting. And all the sheriff's department did was come to the window and laugh. So the pain exacerbated to the point where not only was I suffering stomach issues, I was starting to shit myself. That's how much pain I was in. Upon trying to use the facilities there at the holding place, I was able to use the toilet the first time. But with my lower spine and my orthopedic issues, I'm not able to get off of their toilet without grab bars. So I spent 18 hours pushing that button, begging them, call my friends, they can get me my pain meds. I'm in pain. I spent 18 hours in the cell with shit all over the cell. Nobody would come in and clean it up. They made me lay on their concrete floor. I did finally get to see the nurse. So they're holding me on 3 felonies for 48 hours. I finally see the nurse. My blood pressure is 218 over 110. She examines me. She says the man's under extreme pain. Do 4 things for him. Your department over there ignored every bit of it. They refused to give me my pain meds. They refused to allow me to use the phone to call people. They refused the mattress to help me sleep. They refused me to allow me to take a shower. And they refused clean underwear. So I spent 48 hours in your jail shitting myself and shitting all over that cell. They wouldn't come in and clean it up. It was very disgusting. So my point to you guys, if you're going to arrest disabled people and you're going to treat them with basically human rights violation and deprive them everything, even what their nurse says, you need another facility somewhere that maybe there's grab bars where there's a toilet. Maybe there's a shower somewhere.
Time is up, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Eleanor McFarland. I live at 18405 Road P.2 in Cortez. I've written a
Can you
letter.
speak into the microphone, please?
Or pull it really close.
Yeah.
I'd like to read a letter that I've written. It has no specific project in mind, and it's in very general terms. Anyway, dear commissioners, I'm concerned about the taking of zoned agricultural land for utility-scale solar facilities. A utility-scale solar facility belongs on commercial or industrial zoned land, brownfields, and on the built environment. It is a power plant, not a farm. I do not mean that rezoning agricultural land to commercial or industrial land is the magic cure to expedite the construction. Think about what happens to the land used. Utility-scale solar requires mass grading, removal of trees, sometimes blasting, retention ponds, concrete, drilling, and gravel roads. There is nothing natural about the end result. Glass, steel, concrete, rare earth minerals, wiring, and fencing are all an integral part of the final solar plant. Developers and operators of utility-scale solar plants will expect to make money. That's a short definition of a commercial business. Thus, we should at least follow commercial and/or industrial zoning guidelines where utility-scale solar facilities are concerned. What can you do? Please consider a proactive approach to the future locations of utility-scale solar facilities in Montezuma County by creating a solar ordinance. It could include but not be limited to the protection of agricultural lands, wetlands, and waterways, protection of historic resources, the governing of small, medium, commercial, and industrial rooftop and utility-scale solar operations, decommissioning costs, bonding, and procedures that protect the county and taxpayers, plus many more. Clearly defining the total acreage of projects, number of acres of panels, total acres allowed in the county, and distance between projects will make a strong ordinance. A solar ordinance that clearly defines the provisions of a developer's obligations for an acceptable application. The construction and decommissioning guidelines will protect a county that wants to preserve the agricultural heritage and rural character of its communities, its environment, and its residents. Why do I bring this to you? A review of some memorable high-impact requests shows applications for a campground, a storage facility, a convenience store, and a wedding venue. None of these in any way compare to the scope of a utility-scale solar plant being built in our county. The land use code alone hardly seems comprehensive enough to govern all aspects of such a facility. Crafting a separate solar ordinance would benefit prospective developers. It would make your decisions consistent. Sincerely.
Thank you. You can also leave a copy
will
of
do
that
that.
with the clerk so that we have it for the record.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Landon Wilson, 25227 Road 14, Pleasant View, Colorado. I am also here to express my concerns about the spike in interest of installing solar facilities in the county, not speaking of any in specific, just the county as a whole. While I'm in support of renewable energy, there are still lots of unanswered questions and lack of research into solar power. Once the panels have reached their lifespan, how do we dispose of them? And where do we dispose of them? Will our local landfill be willing to take these panels? I would ask that you consider making the solar companies responsible for decommissioning and returning the property back to what it was after the facility is no longer in use. Not to mention, if these large, several hundred to 1,000-acre facilities are installed, it will significantly impact the wildlife migration patterns. Another thing to consider is we often get hail and heavy rainfall events. The panels could potentially wash out land and roads. Who would be responsible for all that damage caused to the roads and surrounding property? The county, landowners, or the solar company? Not to mention wildfires. If a solar facility was to catch fire, or there was a wildfire nearby, do our local fire departments have the training and equipment to handle such a fire? Ag-producing land should not be used for solar, especially irrigated ground. I respect and understand property rights, but according to the American Farmland Trust, from 2001 to 2016, the U.S. lost or compromised 2,000 acres of farmland every day. And that number has increased in the most recent years. I would ask that you look into limiting the number of acres that solar can be installed in this county. Solar facilities should be classified as industrial and not agricultural to help with the tax base of the county. A couple of years ago, solar facilities were allowed under agricultural zones. This needs to be recognized and addressed. Farms grow food, not solar. Thank you.
Thank you. Next. Okay. Seeing no other public comment, we'll close the public comment session of this meeting. And we will jump into grants. I know that our grant administrator is not here right now. We did have two proposals yesterday that were brought to us in the workshop. The first one is a CDOT DUI High Visibility Enforcements Grant. It's basically for $3,000 and basically covers 10 shifts, correct me if I'm wrong, for 6 hours a shift, basically.
Right.
So this basically just covers the cost of the person. It doesn't cover any other indirect costs associated with it. So with that, gentlemen,
Gerald, do you have anything?
No, I agree with Jim, you know, it doesn't cover all of our costs, but this is for just, I move to approve this Montezuma County grant application submission form for the CDOT DUI high visibility enforcements in the amount of $3,000 reimbursement, no county match.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded to accept the Montezuma County grant application submission form for the CDOT DUI High Visibility Enforcements Grant in the amount of $3,000 with no match. Is there any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then the next one is going to be the 2024-25 Court Security Cash Fund Grant. This is basically asking for another FTE for the court security, to move that from 3 to 4. Again, this would be the cycle of 24-25. Again, this does not cover any indirect costs. This is just basically for fringe and payroll.
Correct. Correct. Just fringe and payroll and no additional pay or
Indirects.
indirect
Yeah.
for the staff.
Questions on that one, gentlemen?
No, they pretty well covered it yesterday.
You know, again, I guess the only thing I want to add is that this is adding or asking for another FTE. And I'm always a little reluctant when it comes to adding FTEs, although I think we've made it very clear that if a grant goes away, the FTE goes away with the grant. I think that's we want to make that significantly clear to everybody that if this grant is awarded and that FTE is approved, that if that grant goes away, that FTE goes away with it, because there's no way to continue to carry it.
And I would just further add that, I mean, whenever grant money comes in to fund certain positions, that influences how this commission deals with the budget and assesses the budget for the following year. So just because this creates some money, it doesn't necessarily even mean that you guys have to create a new FTE. This doesn't bind you to create a new FTE necessarily.
And that was where I was headed also. It does not bind us to create that FTE. So just so that that's very clear and it's on the record, just to be real clear.
I mean, what this is money to help fund security at our rural courthouse facility. That's what this is, and that's what it would be used for.
Anything else, gentlemen?
No, as long as everybody understands that, what this money's doing, so.
Yeah, it tends to be forgotten that when those grants expire, the position expires.
Well, and like Ian said, it doesn't necessarily even mean it has to add for an FTE. It means that we have the discretion of the money and how it's spent.
Just to make one thing clear, I think in the future, if we go forward with these FTE grants, they need to include the indirect costs because administration is going to have to oversee a lot of this with no indirect costs.
Well, that was part of the discussion that we had yesterday, were the indirect costs that are associated with every grant. Just because it shows that there's no match doesn't mean that there's not additional work that has to be done on the backside of every grant.
I will say though, some of these grants, like this one, I mean, they don't necessarily account for indirect costs. You can't apply for indirect costs. This is for the salary for a court security officer. And then you can't apply for the indirect costs. That's in the terms of the grant. And so some grants aren't going to offer the opportunity for indirect costs. Certainly, if they do, I think your point's well taken. It makes a lot of sense to include those indirect costs in the grant.
Okay, so with that, gentlemen,
I move to approve this Montezuma County grant application submission form for the court security deputy funding 7/1/2024 through 6/30/2025, and the amount of $65,000.
Second.
okay, one final last comment, just to drive this home, is that this is for the Colorado Judicial Department Security Cash Fund and not necessarily for an FTE. And with that, it has been moved and seconded to accept the Montezuma County grant application submission form for the Colorado or Court Security Deputy funding. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next on our agenda is our unfinished business. We had a letter of support yesterday from Empire Electric for a grid resiliency and innovative partnership grant. Basically what this is pertaining to wildfire protection. They are looking at doing approximately 26 miles, I believe.
26.
Up the river, up 145. As you all know, we just had a fire up there this weekend. Pretty significant fire. I think it charred 118 acres as the last number that we had. And this is basically to put that power line underground, except for a few river crossings that they just can't get across. So I think that's all I have. Commissioner Lindsay will be recusing himself from this vote since he sits on the board of Empire Electric. So with that, Commissioner Copenhaver, you and I.
I move to sign this letter of support for Empire Electric Grid Resistance and Innovative Partnership Grant.
And I'll second it. It's been moved and seconded to sign the letter of support for the Empire Electric Grid Resilience and Innovative Partnership Grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And real quick, Commissioner Candelaria, because Commissioner Lindsay abstained, I'll change this, remove his name, and I'll reprint it here shortly and have you sign that one.
Okay. Very good. Okay. Next we have a discussion and a decision on the resolution of an exemption and percentage for the public safety sales tax, the PSST. If you could pull that up. So do you have a resolution number for this, Kim?
And so, Commissioner, the plan today with this resolution is we just need final decision from you guys with numbers and exemption. Then we will send this resolution to DOLA for review, and then we'll sign it next week. That way we're not sending a signed resolution to DOLA, and then they're going to mark it up, and we're going to have to re-sign it again. But so basically the things that we need to fill in today are whether we're going to go with any of those exemptions that we've been talking about for the last several weeks, and then we need to put a rate in, and then once we do that, the resolution and body will be finalized, and we can send it up for review and then have it ready for signature next week.
Okay. All right. I think we're clear. So we have to make that decision today after we were presented yesterday in our workshop. At the end of our workshop, we also had some numbers presented to us from our administrator and Mr. Bugga. They've been working on this for us. And I think looking at the numbers that we can stay with the 1%. We had talked about 1% all the way up to 1.4%. We believe that, or we feel that the 1% at the present time is probably enough. Is that correct, gentlemen? And then I also think that we are going to leave the exemptions equal for everybody and that the exemptions were going to be none. So, if I've stated that correctly.
I'd like to revisit exempting farm equipment.
Okay, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, I think, you know, when tractors are over $100 and some thousand, you know, and combines are over $300,000, I think I would exempt farm equipment.
I agree. And you're not gonna buy a very big tractor or a combine for that money that you're talking about.
I said over.
Yes, way over. I agree with Ken. I think we should,
Okay, so then is all we have then is to look at, that's already in the resolution under the red as the whereas, is then to agree on the, again, we had talked about one. I think that we felt all comfortable yesterday. I didn't think we had to go any higher with that at all.
No.
Okay.
I agree.
So then I think what we are going to vote on right now is this resolution number 5. And it would then state
1%.
1%, and the whereas for the farm equipment exemption, which was off of the list of exemptions that we can exempt, would stay in here as it's highlighted in red at this time. Is that all we have?
That's right, but you're not going to sign this resolution today.
Correct.
You're
We're just
issuing
voting on the
instructions to me.
percentage
Yep.
And the, yeah,
Yep.
so,
You need a motion for that?
I don't think that we need a motion. What I'm going to do is, I've got
Direction.
direction from this board. I'm understanding that we've got
1%.
agreement with
And we'll
the,
leave
with the
the
terms, and so
exemption in.
we'll get this sent up to DOLA this week and have it on the agenda next week for signature.
Okay.
Okay.
Very good. All right. Moving on then, we will jump right into our reports. Mr. McLaren.
Biggest thing to report, the court did grant the motion for entry of judgment against Ironwood. Fines were entered as a judgment. Those fines were through February 4th. So the amount entered in favor of the county was $288,500, or $288,500. Invoices were sent to Ironwood last week. We sent invoices to, well, I guess not just Ironwood, we sent invoices to Ironwood, the corporation, and then the two operators, Wade Bentley and Mark Hartman. They will have 30 days to pay those invoices, and then if those invoices are not paid, we will move towards post-judgment enforcement remedies, and that can include attaching to property and both property in the county and potentially assets that are held outside the county. So that's where that stands. We do have a response to a motion to amend the fines that was filed by Ironwood a couple weeks ago. That response is due this Friday. I'm working on that, and I will get that over to CDPHE for review and approval probably later today, and we will have that filed by Friday. Obviously, the position of both CDPHE and the county will be that the fines as assessed are appropriate for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, Ironwood did stipulate to those fines. They stipulated to the stipulated amended injunction, and so that's the argument, as well as some others. But ultimately, we're asking that those fines stay the same, the $70,000 per week for each week that material remains on the ground on the site. Travis and I met with staff last week regarding the new ADA legislation. We talked about that a little bit in our workshop yesterday. Obviously, this ADA accessibility legislation is going to change the way that we operate some of our technology here in the county, especially the website and the social media. In essence, everything's got to be text recognizable, so people can use a screen reader and a text recognition software to identify what's being said and what's being done. There are going to be some costs involved in this. One thing that we talked about specifically was sometimes we do get handwritten comments and handwritten submissions, or we have handwritten documents that we display in the meetings. There are scanners that will scan those into a text recognizable format. that is something that IT is going to look into and see what the cost of that kind of thing will be. Long story short, there's going to be costs involved with this, but we're going to continue to work. Mr. McLean updated us yesterday and did inform us that our website's in good shape in a lot of respects, and so that's certainly good news. I think we're ahead of a lot of government entities in the state in terms of compliance, but there's still more work to be done. And so something that's certainly on our radar. We're going to continue to work and pay attention to it, and the deadline to be compliant is July. So we're going to continue to work in that regard. I did touch base with the Cortez Fire Protection District Attorney. Finally, got a call from that attorney this week, and I think that we're ready to move forward with that contract, and so we'll have that in front of you guys next week. So that certainly is a positive development, and we can get that signed and done. And so that'll be on the agenda for next week. Last thing I have to report, we just had a new complaint that was filed against the Sheriff's Department late on Friday last week. I just received it yesterday. It has also been provided to the insurance company's attorney. It's a case that was filed into county court, alleging it stems from what was alleged to be a wrongful arrest, and then some emotional damages arising from that arrest. Again, it has been submitted to insurance. We've got 21 days to respond. Just talking to the insurance company yesterday, I think that there's a couple different directions that we can go, but we're certainly looking very hard at a motion to dismiss that complaint. And so I'll keep you updated on it. It's brand new. I just saw it for the first time yesterday, but we are reviewing it and looking at our options, and so we'll move forward with responding to that. The one thing I will note is, we'll respond to it. So. And that's all for me.
All right. Thank you, Ian. All right, Travis.
Real busy week. First, Rick Torres is here helping our veterans. He's hit the ground running. And we was looking at that SEER program through the federal government for a part-time. He's right on top of that, and we're going to try to get some additional assistance there. Worked through some grant issues this week. Had a good meeting with some stakeholders regarding evaluations, medical evaluations for the detox issues going on at the jail facility. Worked a lot on the PSST, and then most of my week was trying to get caught up on this House bill on the ADA compliant, the House Bill 211110. And there's going to be some changes coming down the pike to ensure that we're in compliance and that we're ensuring that we're not violating the House bill. So we have that. We opened the landfill sale, 5 bids, and those are being evaluated right now. Just a couple of kudos to some employees. Brenda Jarman from Social Services. She will be receiving her master's degree in May. Congratulations to her. That's quite a feat. And then Delilah Darwin from Public Health got a national award from the Child Passenger Safety Board for child safety seats. So congratulations to both of them. And then last, go ahead.
And real quick, I'd just like to say congratulations to Miss Jarman. I worked with her for years in child protection. When I first got here, she was a case aide, and now she's the ongoing case supervisor. She's just put a ton of hard work in, both to her education and for this department. She's always just been outstanding to work with, and such an asset in our child protection department. So congrats to Brenda. It's well-deserved.
Yeah, and I think I can speak for all of us that that's a congratulations
Yes, it
from
is,
all
very
3
much so.
commissioners also. We do recognize that of the hard work and diligence that our employees put into this. So thank you guys from all of us too.
And then lastly is just the schedule of receipts and disbursements from the treasurer's office.
I move to approve this scheduled receipts and disbursements as presented, with the ending balance total of $41,777,341.44.
Is it 44 cents or 4 cents?
4 cents.
Okay.
4 cents.
All right. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to accept the scheduled receipts and disbursements as presented in the amount of $41,777,341.04. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, Kim, before we go, do you have anything that you would like to add? Okay, I will mention something for Kim because she's going to be, if you didn't get an opportunity to watch our workshop yesterday, I challenge you to pull it up and watch it. She did give some valuable and good information yesterday, and I think it was very worthwhile, and I thank you and your staff for coming over and providing that information, Kim. So for all of you that weren't here, please pull up that YouTube video from yesterday and kind of listen into what our clerk and recorder had to say in their presentation. With that, Commissioner's report, Commissioner Copenhaver.
At the last of March, on the 27th, I attended the Mancos Town meeting. Otherwise, just been keeping up on water bills that's going through, and also these two competing bills over the state replacing the waters of the U.S. rulings the EPA had before. It's going to be a challenge to a lot of communities, I think, the way that thing is coming down. Because the way that thing reads is if they don't change some things in there, it's like 1,500 feet from the high water mark of the river, which will take any dredge and fill, have to have a dredge and fill permit to almost do anything in the whole Dolores River Basin or even around Mancos River within 1,500 feet of it. It's going to be.
It's pretty restrictive. Why so far?
I don't know why they're going so far away.
I don't know.
From it.
And how do they enforce it?
Well, through CDPHE is where they're trying to put it right now.
That's-
One of them. The
Yeah.
other one's trying to put it under the Natural Resources, Department of Natural Resources. But both of those bills are very similar in a lot of ways as far as exempting the ag and the ag ditches and all that stuff. But it's going to be some serious. I mean, if you have to get a permit from the state to do anything within that distance from the high water mark of the river, it's going to impact a lot of people's property. And both of them are pretty similar as far as requiring a certain distance away from that river. So there's some real issues with that thing coming down.
Okay.
And I think the enforcement of it, like you said, how they going to enforce it, thing of it is, it's just like all these other cases, in order to, just like in the city or anything in Mancos, all of that, it'll take in the biggest part of the town
Yeah.
to do anything. And you go to dig in a footer over there, and that it's nothing to where you're going to get into the water
Oh, yeah.
table, because that whole
So
area
high.
there, that alluvial of the river takes in a lot of that area. So it's going to be some.
Same way in Dolores.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean.
Identical.
I don't know. It just seems pretty restrictive to me, but things moving on. So I don't know. There's actually one bill one part of it comes from McLaughlin, or not McLaughlin. The gal from Greeley. One comes from the governor's office, his department, sent that one bill forward, but Kirkmeyer,
Weld County.
Wells County has
Weld County.
presented, there's two of them, and they're basically very similar, but they're both moving forward, and I don't know how they'll come out, but hopefully it's gonna cut that footage back, but right now it says 1,500 feet from the high water mark, which is better than a quarter of a mile. So,
Is
Pretty
it
good distance.
designated rivers or all water flow ditches?
well, they're basically wanting to put it back to what EPA had before the Supreme Court
Right.
ruled on that Sackett case. They're wanting to put it back what the EPA had before that. It's basically what they're doing. Only they've set a distance on it also. So, could be very restrictive in some areas to a lot of property. Because anytime you go to dig a footer or anything else, if you get into the water, you're in. According to them, one of the bills basically states that all water is waters of the state of Colorado, and if you get into it, you. So it's
That's when you need your
it can,
permit.
unless they've changed something just the last week, I'll find out tomorrow, because we're gonna have a meeting over at Southwest, and we're gonna go through those again, so I'll find out if there's any other changes to them, or where they're at, because I haven't looked the last couple of days.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah,
Good.
that's it.
Okay. Commissioner Day.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I attended the city council meeting and have city council again tonight. They had their elections, and congratulations to Rob Dobry, Bill Lewis, April
Dr.
Randall, and Rachel Medina. So those are the four new, well, there's two new council members and two returning council members. And other than that, been watching the energy and gas bills going through the House, and they're about to really fix gas production in the state of Colorado, oil and gas production. They want to limit it in the next few years, and not really limit it, do away with it. So that will have a major effect on a lot of counties in this state. Other than that, I did attend the Home and Garden Show. With a lot of people out there, a lot of good conversations went on out there, and like Travis said, welcome back, Rick Torres. I got so many compliments out there of him being back. It was unbelievable how it was received. So I guess we can put a star on our chart for a little while. Figure out how to keep him.
And I'll agree with that and echo the same thing, and I think that, one of the challenges that we face is that we don't want to settle, and I had this conversation with Rick myself out there at the Home and Garden Show, was, we're going to try and do the very best we can for the VSO. The state is changing some of the guidelines for the VSO right now, which we'll have to start looking at and implementation of it next year. But yeah, thank you, Rick, for being here and helping us for however long you can, and hopefully we can keep you around for a little bit of time. With my report, also again, like I said, I had a lot of conversations out at the Home and Garden Show. I do want to bring up one thing to you gentlemen, if you get the opportunity. As I was walking around out there on that sidewalk around the perimeter of that building is looking pretty rough. We also have CTF funds just so that we have a funding source out there, but specifically on the east side where the ADA handicap area is at, I think we maybe start looking at something like that for next year. But if you get the opportunity, just look at that.
Yeah, it's
In that ADA area. Secondly, speaking of ADA, just to make this clear to everybody, again, the Sheriff's Department is not our department. That is an elected official. The elected officials run their departments. We just own the jail. We own the properties. Montezuma County, we oversee the budgets, and we own the facilities. We do not oversee that department. We've said that in the past. We did have our workshop yesterday. We had some of the issues that we're taking care of today in our regular meeting. We also had reports from our clerk and recorder, Ms. Purcell, our assessor, Ms. Bug, building and grounds, Mr. Sattler, vehicle maintenance from Mr. Higman, IT from Mr. McLean, and GIS from Mr. Roth, and James Dietrich with natural resources. Something coming to us real quickly, we're going to be the vehicles that we're looking at, so we need to kind of concentrate and focus on the stuff that he sent and presented to us yesterday. Just as a reminder, did attend the Dolores meeting last night. They also have a few new people that won their election. They got into a second reading of an ordinance which was amending their Planning and Zoning Commission so that they're not all expiring on the same time. They passed that resolution, and then they were able to appoint and fill some vacancies on their Planning and Zoning Commission. They did get in their final discussion as an increase to the base rate of their water and sewer rates. They were proposed because they are looking at a DOLA grant to upgrade some of their water. Apparently DOLA had turned them down because they were not being proactive enough to raise their own rates. So this was basically an increase for their rates in Dolores. I did leave at 9 o'clock and they did not have this discussion finished, so I'm not sure how that ended up. The last thing I wanted to ask was the CCI. I'll be traveling to CCI tomorrow. Were there anything on the bill table that you guys that stuck out in your mind that was of any real concern?
I'll look at get those numbers for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And with that, that will conclude my report. So, I think we are at the end of our agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to adjourn this April 9th, 2024 meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.